Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I am making some self-watering hydroponic planters, and I figured I'd take you along for the ride. I am using some recycled cups so I can reuse the plastic cups, some polyester yarn, nice thick yarn that's very absorbent and wicks water very well, and some other things. The cash po that's going, or the reservoir, is going to be various different containers. So I'll show you what those look like. But I'm just going to start making the holes in these cups for the wicks, and then and I do this old school. I'm so ghetto. And then I'll show you exactly what happens next. I'm going to show you one of them that I just finished. Here is one that has an Inky Toes coleus, which is a close sister, I guess, to Inky Fingers, except there are much more teeth, little toes, you want to call them. So I use perlite. I have my wick, and it's in this glass vase reservoir. And that's pretty much the concept. So I have a bunch of plants growing in this way. It's so much easier because with a reservoir that's big enough, you don't have to water very often. And it's just, we have a lot of plants like I do. It's time consuming to have to water everything. And especially when I love growing in lava rock and perlite. And lava rock in particular, those... I don't know what it is with the lava rock, but I think it's that the plants that are in there are pretty big, and they are so thirsty that I was watering them like every couple of days, and that's no good for me. So with a wick, I have to water maybe once a week, as the reservoir, the nutrients in the reservoir gets less and less. I don't wait for it to get completely dry, but I do refill it when there's maybe a centimeter of water left on the bottom. So what I'm doing with these pieces of yarn, and you don't have to do this, this is just what I do. I'm just kind of showing you what I do. I make a knot at the end so that the end of the yarn doesn't fray and get kind of messy in the medium. For these, I'm going to be using perlite. I've noticed perlite works really well with a wick system. So does lava rock, but I don't have as much lava rock to throw around right now, but I have plenty of perlite. So this is what it looks like. I made the hole, and I'm putting the wick now into the recycled plastic cup, and there's my wick. The reason why I did such a long wick is because one of these, I'm going to use this vase as a reservoir. Look at how big this thing is. Isn't that huge? So this is going to be even better as far as watering is concerned. There's a lot of wick in there. I don't even need that much, but I can cut it. I probably will. But this is what it's going to look like. Let me cut it now. Let me see how much I need. That's probably good enough. Right there. I'm going to cut it right about there. And I'll pull this up and knot it like I always do. Now, I'm not going to moisten the perlite like I'm going to plant right now. I'm not going to do that, but I'm going to show you what I do to prepare for when I have a plant ready. So I get my perlite. It's better to sift it. I have not been sifting my perlite, and it gets a little bit compact, and that's another reason why you can see the dust that comes out. Not good to breathe it in. They say you should use a mask when using perlite for that reason. So you don't want to get irritation in your lungs. So one thing that I like to do is I moisten the wick before I even put the perlite in, and I make sure that the wick is not completely at the top, but lower this a little bit, but is up where beyond where the roots would be, higher than the roots. So you can see, or can you? There you go. There's the perlite, there's the wick, and normally I would moisten the wick before putting it through the cup, and then I would rinse through the perlite just at the sink and let all the dust come out, and it would drip down the wick into the drain. And I do that until it's, you know, kind of clear. It's never going to be perfectly clear because it's brand new and there's so much dust in the perlite. But I like to rinse it as much as I can, at least, to get, you know, the bulk of dust out of here, because I'm not sifting this. If I was to sift, this is kind of what it would look like. The perlite pieces would be a lot bigger. You can see them. All the dust falls through the sifter, and the perlite pieces are much bigger. So I recommend doing that. I just am not doing that for the purpose of this video. And sometimes, you know, if I don't have the time, I won't necessarily sift, but I will run the water through to get as much of that dust out. Okay, so that's one. Ooh, let's see. The next one I'm going to do, excuse me, that's the dust. So I should be more careful. So the next one I'm going to do is kind of like a fun, I've done stuff like this before. It's going to be a fun planter. The plastic cup is going to be concealed, and I'll show you what I'm going to do. It's going to be, it's kind of interesting, and it's nice for like coffee tables and windowsills, even your desk at work if you like having plants at work, because Lord knows I like having plants at work. I like to be surrounded by plants. So, okay, so there's that. Gonna make my knot in the yarn so the end does not fray badly and get messy. Both sides get a little knot, like so. Okay. Again, I normally would soak the wick so that it is completely waterlogged, and that way it'll easily wick moisture up from the reservoir. And the reservoir, this one's dirty, but I'll clean it before I actually use it, but I just wanted to show you. I'm going to use a mug, pretty mug, with, you know, plant motif on it, I guess you could say, and choose joy, okay? So it's dirty. Just ignore that. Pretend that doesn't exist. Okay, I would be I would be soaking this wick. Then I would sift my perlite. Then I would pour the perlite. Hold your breath. Into the cup. Like so. I would put a little more than that, but rinse it through. Then that wick will wick up the moisture, the water, and that you leave in the bottom of the mug. The only problem with something like this where it's not translucent or clear is you have to kind of check to see how much is left. Not a big deal, because you check maybe once or twice a week just to make sure. But I like to be able to see, like this one over here, I like to be able to see right away, needs water, or no, it doesn't. So, but there are some options that you have. I use the big vase. You can use anything like that with a long enough wick. It would just last a lot longer before you have to refill the reservoir. And with mugs, you could do really cool looking designs. You know, some of the mugs are really cool plant related imagery and flowers and stuff like that. So that could be really cool and really fun to put around your house. Again, since this is hydroponic, I use hydroponic nutrients, whether it's the AeroGarden or MaxiGrow, but you can also do this with regular soil, and it'll help you not have to keep watering your plants. I don't really like soil that much, but you can, go for it. It works just as well. I have one somewhere, I'm not sure where it is, that is a soil wicked planter, and that plant is doing great. So I prefer not to, but you know, sometimes you got to do what you got to do. So if you can You can do it with soil, perlite obviously, lava rock, over there you can't see it, leca. All of these hydroponic mediums work pretty much the same way. I've even done this with sphagnum moss. The only thing is, sphagnum moss, you got to make sure it's really fluffy and not packed down because it'll get waterlogged really quickly and suffocate your roots. Same thing with yarn. I've done this with yarn, and the yarn is the actual wick as well as the substrate. And just make sure it's not tightly packed in or those roots won't do so well. Anyway, that's the story. I just wanted to show you guys what I'm doing tonight. That's right, Saturday night. This is my fun. Anyway, if you have any questions, leave a comment. If you have not subscribed, why not? Go for it. Share with your friends. Hit the bell if you want to be notified. And I will see you in the next video.